Welcome to Beyond Clean with Ace. In the world of commercial cleaning, whether you're new to the industry or a seasoned professional, you know we're all more than just toilets, windows, and floors. We're just like everyone else with diverse interests in everything. Now, in Season 9, tens of thousands have discovered engaging and thoughtful knowledge that's truly game-changing at Beyond Clean with Ace. Whether you're a facility manager, a frontline staff member, or a building services contractor, we're here to help you grow personally and professionally. So hit that subscribe button and share with others. We're all about enhancing lives in healthy, positive, and proactive ways. So join me, Dave Thompson, Director of the Academy of Cleaning Excellence, your host at Beyond Clean with Ace. Hello, everyone. This is Dave Thompson, and I am back for another edition of Beyond Clean with Ace, where we talk about everything cleaning and otherwise. Today, Jerry's going to be back with me again here. We're going to be talking about, I think we're probably going to talk about cleaning today. You know, it's our ninth season. Golly gee, it's May, the middle of the year. Where is it all going? I don't know. It must be just I'm getting older. I don't know what's heck is happening. But anyway, hey, thank you for being with us. Get you a cup of coffee or tea, whatever. If you're listening to the recording, share it with somebody, please. That's the only way that people actually benefit from all of our efforts that we do here. So let's see if Jerry's with me. Hey, there's another face.
I don't know if it's a better face at all, but hey, good morning and good to see you, Dave, again, and good morning to everybody listening. So it's great to be a part today.
Well, Jerry, it's always nice when technology works. So, hey, we've been having some trouble, folks. So if we get a little bit of glitchy stuff going on, bear with it. The internet is what it is. Technology is great and wonderful when it works like it should.
Yeah. Well,
hey, Jerry, we talked here a couple months ago. We were up at the Baltimore doing the conference. I'm going to be speaking down here at the conference in Orlando here in October. Just put up the deal on LinkedIn for that. You coming down for the NFT?
I have not made a decision yet. I'm looking into it, but I'd like to. So I'm definitely looking into it. So I haven't made a decision yet. So,
oh, golly gee, maybe we'll actually get to be with each other in person 2 times this year, huh?
Yeah, awesome. That'd be great. So
hey, folks, that's what these conferences are all about. We always go to them. We network. It's just like anything else, whether you're a speaker, you're an attendee. It's all about networking, learning. Learning is something that is kind of dear to my heart here at the Academy. Jerry, I think it is for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I had a friend of mine always used to say, if you're not growing, you're dying, and so you need to constantly be growing and expanding your wisdom and learning from others, learning from, reading, just conferences, wherever you can do to make yourself, number one, a better person, but also a better business owner.
So if somebody's new to the podcast, Jerry, let's give them a little bit of history about who you are, what you do, and then what do you want to talk about today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, my name is Jerry Flug, and you may not know me, but I spent about 20 years in the industry as an owner of a BSC, and it started with 12 employees, ended up with just over 250, and grew that business and went through all the pain points that most of you are facing on a daily basis. And back in 2022, we decided to sell our company. And then I did not want to get out of the industry, even though I took about a 6-month break just from working and kind of reset in life, and decided I wanted to be a coach and help other BSCs just win with the day-to-day. And so I began a coaching business. It's our HRA consulting group, and we have different folks on our team. Myself with history in the industry, I would encourage you, if you're going to hire a coach, hire somebody that was in the industry. There's several of us out there. Don't hire someone outside the industry, because it's going to frustrate you. It really is, and you'll probably end up wasting money. You just need to get somebody that knows the industry and has been in it and lived in it, that they can help you get the ball down the field faster. So So I started the company. I'm about 2 years in, and I'm having an absolute blast just helping people win. Thankful to be part of just some great organizations inside the industry, and getting to meet a lot of new people and see a lot of old faces as well. So that's what we're doing. We're really helping people identify their pain points and what is the thing that's right in front of your face that's preventing you from seeing the big picture that we can correct right away, and then putting repeatable processes in place in your business to help your business function and work on building a great foundation in your business. And once we get that foundation built, then we're going to push the gas a little bit and we're going to grow. And as we're growing, then we're going to determine at what point you're ready to scale and just rinse and repeat and go and become a regional, a national powerhouse company, whatever your desire is. And so we've been working with companies from startup to $20-25 million. And so, if we can help you in any way, reach out, please, especially those of you who are under the $5 million mark and even under the $1 million mark. I have several clients I'm helping there. And you may say, well, Jerry, I can't afford a coach. Listen, give me a call, give me a shout, hit me up on LinkedIn. We'll be glad to help you out. We'll figure out a way. I'm even at times I'm doing stuff for free for people because I just want to see them win. So that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing right now, Dave. And I probably just buried myself by offering some free stuff, but that's all right.
Hey, Jerry, you know what? People always pick up on that, don't they?
Oh yeah, but you know what? It's fine. Listen, nobody ever lost anything by giving something away. So.
I don't have the same background as you. Excuse me, folks. I got out of business of contracting a long time ago. Went into sales and now education. But I think it's interesting. Hey, I got to ask a question. Did COVID have a decision about you getting out?
No, we actually, funny story. I was asked last week what made me qualified to be a business coach in this industry, and I said, well, I ran a janitorial business through COVID. I'm pretty qualified. And,
I survived.
Yeah. So any of you that are out there, if you get to that point, you can just let people know you're qualified. No, it didn't really play into. As a matter of fact, COVID was really good to most people in the industry that pulled through it. For us, it was just it was more of a family thing. I'd been really wanting my wife to be able to retire, and I thought I was going to be able to retire. But that,
as you say that, I had somebody that he left the business after many years, kind of a mentor to me and everything in a lot of my years. And then I saw he got back into it, and I sent him a LinkedIn deal. I said, what the heck goes on? I thought you retired and moved to California and all of this and everything. And he says, well, this industry has a way of getting its hooks into you, just won't let go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think for me and for us as a family, it was just a good decision for our family. Nothing major, just good timing. And the right people came along, and the guys that run the company now are just outstanding young guys in the industry, and they are rock stars, continue to be so for a long time to come. But I really wanted to be able to step back and help people, because I remember the days of my first 6 or 7 years. I wasn't a member of any industry organizations, anything, and I just was winging it.
There you go.
And finally, somebody said, "Hey, you ought to join BSCAI." And I thought I'd died and gone to heaven because there were so many people just like me struggling with the same stuff. And I went to a conference, and man, it was like drinking from a fire hose, but it was a good fire hose. And so that kind of catapulted me into the industry to become fairly known, but also to learn a ton and realize I was not the only one going through what I was going through. And that community is what really just sealed my love and desire for seeing people win in this industry.
I saw that you were at a conference last week. So you haven't given up on that yet.
No, so now that I'm a consultant, I help sponsor some of those events. So I did have the opportunity to go to the BSCAI Executive Management Conference, and got a chance to just spend some time with quite a few people, get to meet new people, new faces in the industry, and see some old faces, and then just share some of my expertise along the way of what we've learned over the 20 years course of 20 years that we were in the business, and be able to help people. And so it is just a great community. And I would suggest if anybody is not involved in it, get involved in it. For the small price you pay annually, the benefits are crazy good. They have virtual events, once a quarter. They have the executive management. They have a national event in Vegas every year. And so, and also they have a CEO event in January where CEOs come together and they bring in some pretty powerful speakers to, just talk about what it means and trends in the industry, things of that nature. So yeah, it's a great organization. Interesting what we found out, Dave, during that time. I kind of polled some people just trying to figure out what the pulse of most of the businesses are. And labor's always number one, right?
Absolutely, always.
Yeah, people are always trying to figure that out. The second one was getting good, clean leads that turn into good proposals. But the tag end of that was pricing. How do I price and be competitive without being in the gutter? And so pricing was a big one. We'll jump back to that real quick. And then I think the last one, that I remember was is making sure that they get those repeatable processes in place. Here's what I'm finding in the industry, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm finding, I ran my business and I coached this way. You got to build a foundation before you can grow and scale. And I think what's happening is people are skipping the build part because there's so many things coming at them so fast, opportunities. So they go into grow mode and they never get the foundation right. And when they start growing, the bottom end falls out of it operationally. They can't support it. And that becomes a major problem in the industry. And that's why upwards of 75% of people that try to get in this industry fail. And that, to be honest with you, that's in any business. If you don't get the foundation right, man, it's going to be a tough road. So
Jerry, I've heard some of the numbers out there, and so I don't work with BSCAI, just haven't ever got with them. But I wonder if when you were there, there's a couple of things I've heard relating to what you're talking about here. That 60% of the cleaning industry businesses that start don't make it to year 5, and 80% of the custodial, janitorial businesses out there are under $250,000 annual revenue. Are these still current numbers that are being pushed around?
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on with those. I remember when I came in the industry and I started talking to some people in the industry, and I was at I think at that point when I really got involved, I was already at 2 million. And guys would say, you're in the top 10% of grossing, companies in the country. And I was like, yay.
How did that feel?
Wait a minute. What does that mean? And so
I am, but now what the heck?
Right. So yeah, I think there's still a strong failure rate. Let's face it, it's an easy industry to transition into. But it's not just about going to Home Depot and buying a mop bucket and a mop and getting at it. You gotta represent and be be professional and build a professional organization. And I'm coaching people who are just starting up. I'm talking with somebody right now that is just starting up. He's coming out of the banking industry, but man, is he is driven, but he is driven to build a foundation first. But because of all his connections, he's getting bombarded with opportunity after opportunity. And I'm like, those are great. Just let's take a couple of minutes and work on the foundation. And so many people get going. It's just crazy. Listen, I had a business coach, and he told me one time, when you are running a business and trying to work on it and make things right, it's like being in a NASCAR race and needing your tires changed, but you're not going to pit. You're just not going to pit. And you're going to have the guys come out and change tires while you're driving 200 miles an hour. And you know what? That really resonated with me, because that's exactly what I was doing, was wide open, and we're making changes in the organization to get the foundation right. So that to me, that's a challenge for people, is if you're looking for someone to guide you through that, we can help you with that.
I have in my bidding class that I do, Jerry, I have these same conversations with entrepreneurs all the time. And, one of the interesting things is there's two things that always come out. And I'm like, not every opportunity is your client.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to what you're saying, is if you're into growth mode so much, taking that new client in all the time, you've got to make sure that foundation is secure and stable. And when, of course, for me, I'm all about training the frontline worker, and I'm like, they're your most valuable resource, but you basically just ignore them.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really try to encourage my clients to do is, don't be all things to all people, right? Let's decide on 3 product offerings and let's work hard on those. It might be janitorial, final clean, construction, and floor care. And then inside of those, what are the things inside of those that you're going to do? Like in janitorial, what things am I going to work on or offer? Am I going to do Class A? Am I going to do medical office space, private schools? What is it? And then offer those 3. Go after those 3, train your frontline and your supervisors for those 3, and then geographically stay within your means. I've had customers who like, hey, I got an opportunity and it's 55, 60 miles away. I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you a question. Can you manage it from where you are currently, or does your scope of influence with your supervisors allow you to do that? And they're like, no, it's like an hour away. Like, okay, well, let me ask you another question. If the employee that's supposed to be there to clean is sick one night, how does it get taken care of? Oh, that's a good question. So it's very, the industry is very granular. You got to dig down in, but you have to be very, very direct in what you're going to do. And for me, when I ran my company, I decided on the things that we were going to service, and we trained to that kind of like medical office space. We were big in that, and we trained to that. And then when it came to construction, final clean, and floor care, we went after that kind of work. So I'd go after the final clean construction that was medical office space, and then I'd be the first one in line to get the janitorial. And needless to say, if I knew I was getting the janitorial, the floor care was already, during the construction clean, we set it up the way we wanted it so that we could maintain it.
Right.
So
I did that, something like, that in my early career, whenever I was doing it, janitorial, full janitorial just wasn't my cup of tea. And so I just looked at it and I go, I'm just going to do floor care. I just did hard floor care. I didn't want carpet. I didn't want anything to do with carpet. And so I became the subcontractor in my geographical area, because I didn't want anybody else's business. I just wanted the floors, and they didn't want to do the floors. And so we had a great relationship, and that was building contractor working with building contractor. I want to go back to BSCAI in just a moment, if you, Jerry. As a coach as we are, and seasoned as we are, what did you come out? I mean, my boss says, "Hey, what did you learn?" I'm like, it's a struggle for me to really learn anything new anymore that isn't technology driven. Do you find that true?
So here's what I think. Lori Greiner with what's the Shark Tank, right? She said this: the dream is free, but the hustle's sold separately. And I think there's a lot of folks who are wanting to get into this industry, and they're looking to do it through acquisition right off the bat with no investment in the industry. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I think it's viewed as COVID has brought a new image, a new professional image to the industry, and the need for it. And I'm championing this. I'm like, I want you to present yourself and your organization as a top tier professional organization, not a mom and pop, not that you got a van down by the river that you sleep in at night and you go work in during the day. Let's be professional. And I think, I left this last conference with, I think that's a trend that's starting to happen, that people are realizing how important we are to life in general. And I think that is a trend that's happening, even with people that are trying to come in and buy in. I think they realize how important the industry is. And so technically, software, all that, everybody's still trying to figure out what does that look like. And there's several companies now that were in the industry that are trying to create software. Whoever wins that battle is going to be a millionaire many times over, because there's still, the software divisions are still trying to figure out how to put a good software together for our industry. But for me, I think what I pulled away from this last conference was the professionalism has increased quite a bit. And our mentality needs to be that we need to realize how important we are. There's a reason why people say from the president to the janitor, right? Well, if the janitor wasn't in place, the president wouldn't show up because the place would be dirty. Right. It's a simple fact. And so that's probably what I walked away with. And I think, I'm emotional about it. But I always used to say, emotions drive people, but people drive organizations. And so if you are passionate about something and you're passionate about your job and your organization, if you're owner of it, that's a drive that is hard to extinguish, right? And so, get your hustle in and get going. Sometimes, I was telling the guy this morning, hey, listen, I know you're trying to get off the ground and you don't necessarily want to be out cleaning floors this morning, but sometimes, you got to jump on a side by side and make it happen. At this stage of the game. But if you'll do it, that's a great learning curve for you to understand later. When a floor guy says it's going to take me this long, you'd be like, no, I've done that. I know what it takes. So don't be afraid of the hustle in the industry either. It will come. So
as you say this, labor has always been the number one, I believe, in this industry. It will always be, because the major part of what we do is people doing work. Now, yes, we're automating things and we have autonomous stuff, but it's not taken over. We use all of these tools to adapt and to make us more efficient. My Hire to Inspire program that I'm doing at the conferences now is learning how to communicate with all of the different generations. Mm-hmm. Are you finding this same issue with labor and hiring? And the one that I always have found is it's retention as well as hiring.
Yeah. Every conference I've been to this year, employee retention, customer retention, or for roundtable or whatever discussions they might have. Here's what I'm finding. So our generation, we're not afraid of work. We can use a cell phone if we need to, or, we're okay with technology. But we were really big on community, I can remember, back when I was growing up, go to church on Sunday and somebody came to your house after church for lunch, and it was just to hang out, spend time together, and build community. Well, the new generation of employees that are coming in, they're big on community. Now, some of the ones in between, they just as soon talk to you, text you, and not see you. That's okay. But so trying to figure out how to get from my generation to this new generation, my kids, they're big on community. They want to be together. They want to hang out, watch movies, do dinner together. So it's an interesting thing. And there's really nothing new under the sun. What's new is how do we figure that out across the board? And for us, for our organization, Dave, we were very intentional about understanding we had two customers. Our management team, we taught them, you have two customers, the employee, your employee, and your paying customer. And I encouraged and pushed hard and almost demanded that we treat them both the same. And so our kindness wasn't just to our paying customers. Our kindness was to our employees as well. Even so much as I would sit down with our management team and say, this is how we're going to talk to people. And I want you to mimic me when you talk to people, because here's the thing that people are going to walk away with. They're never going to walk away from a job going, man, I could do some cleaning. I was the best cleaner they ever had. They're going to walk away with, those people treated me really well. And so when you talk about employee retention, I lost several employees over time to $1 a quarter, a dime an hour, but they always came back. And here's why. They would say, they just don't treat us like you treat us. And so being really good to people, no matter what spectrum on the generational chain they are, you got to just treat people well and be kind. And, I had this, people probably think I'm crazy, but I had a budget in my monthly budget to where if I needed help somebody with a bum tire or a car, or maybe pay electric bill for them, because my goal as a business owner was to help people get from working 2 to 3 jobs to work 1 job, because the priority for them, and we coach this and push this, we wanted it to be your family, because that's really the only thing you're giving back to the society is good kids and great kids. And so spending time with them is important, and that was important to us. So that was kind of our business model, was how are we going to get people, from working 2 or 3 jobs to 1 job with us, to where they can spend time and invest in their families. And so I think that's important. That's just my take. Your belief drives your behavior. And so if you believe in those people and you're kind to those people, it's definitely gonna, drive your behavior. So, and
one of the things I found, Jerry, and I still do with the different entrepreneurs that come in here for classes, is I don't know, it's kind of like what we teach in schools. Sometimes we don't teach enough life skills to me in schools. I think for entrepreneurs, they don't spend enough time on really knowing how to manage and coach and motivate and retain their people. They spend more time with their paying clients and the nuances of doing things, and forget the most valuable part of their business, which is their people. Am I wrong?
Not at all. Listen, I heard this recently, and I think I did this in life, especially while I was owning a business, but I never heard it put this way. Every day, hope for someone. And what that means is helping one person every day, hope, right? Just hope for someone. And what can you do to help out and encourage people and love on people? I think that's very important. And another principle I worked on, and this is, as a business owner, we have tendency to flip out too easy. And I use this principle: find out before you flip out, right? Get information. And that's the key, because this industry is, there are people that work in this industry, they're duds, but for the most part, everybody's doing their best to make ends meet, and we got to treat them with respect. And that all comes down to your culture and who's driving the culture and those core values. And, you got to define your culture and hire to it. And I was very much the one that defined how we were going to be as an organization. And I define those core values and a definition for each one. And that's how I hired. Made it very difficult on myself to hire great people. But if you hire great people that match your culture, managing them is going to be way easier. So
I think that
a lot right there. That's a load that I just unloaded there. So
folks, I appreciate that you stayed with us. If you've been here this long, and so we're about 30 minutes into the podcast. We don't want to make it too long for everybody. But Jerry, before we go, I think you mentioned one other thing that was interesting to me that I always deal with here, and that's the pricing war.
Yeah. So pricing it's becoming it always has been an issue. But here's what I would encourage a business owner, Dave, to do. Know your numbers, know your overhead, know what it costs you to run your business. And then when you go to do your pricing, know what you're pricing. So
you mentioned something earlier, granular. When you say know your numbers, how granular? I know I get real granular, and people just kind of glaze over, like, wait a minute, do you still believe that's the right way? Or, the modern with technology, people don't want to do this.
Yeah, so you bring your technology, I'll bring what I know about my overhead and hourly rate, and I bet you I'll beat you.
Well, does that say all of it, folks? It's like I get granular in the fact of, do you know what a water fixture in a bathroom is? How many water fixtures are in a bathroom? They go, why does it matter?
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got to clean every one of them. And if you only budgeted for 5 sinks, and I budgeted, for the 35 sinks, it's gonna be a struggle for you to get those done in a lot of time. But yeah, I would encourage you to know your numbers, know your overhead mainly, and figure out your overhead. And your overhead is your expenses for your facility, vehicles, gas, your administrative team, your salary, any fixed expenses that you might have. Know those. Equate those into a percentage. So when you bid on a job, that stuff is covered, and find yourself getting more and more competitive. The more you know about your finances, the more competitive pricing you can do. And then for every account, make sure you are working at least quarterly, if not monthly, on knowing your actual versus budgeted. And that's a benefit to you and your customer. I won't expand on that. You can reach out to me if you need to know more about that. But knowing your numbers helps you win the pricing wars. And I never wanted to be the lowest guy. I never want to be the highest guy. I want to be in the middle. And then my customer service and quality of service spoke for the rest of it. So,
well, I keep telling people that not every client or not every opportunity is your client.
Right.
And we said this before, when it comes to the bidding, I always tell people, do you bid or do you build in to that bid the replacement cost for the equipment that you put into that account? Is it actually paying forward to make sure that you can replace that piece of equipment? Do you know how many months or years that auto scrubber is going to be serviceable before you have to replace it? And they're like, well, I just know it's going to cost me, $6-7 when I buy it. I'm like, yeah, but where are you going to get that money from?
Right. Yeah. And most folks today they're just trying to do the math. And we formulated a Excel spreadsheet to where it built all that in it. If you had equipment, it put it in there, and it would depreciate it out for you. But what it was depreciating out to being able to replace it after it depreciated out. So I might have 4 accounts, and only one of them, has walk behind scrubber, but that scrubber is built into the monthly price of that account. And eventually I'm going to have to replace that scrubber, and the money will be there to do it. So,
yeah. And if that was $40 a month, that was part of the bid. So that whenever you got 5 years, 10 years out, that auto scrubber had paid for itself and had paid for the new machine.
Yeah, absolutely. So know your numbers, people. Know your numbers. That's the key. And and we can help. I can help you with that if you need us to. We'll be glad to jump in and do that as well.
Yeah, I tell some people the best coaching advice I can give you is know your people and know your numbers, and then to know your profit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I got to hang out with a couple of my clients at the conference, the management conference this past week, and I asked one of them. I said, what do you think the biggest benefit of having a coach is? And she just looked dead at me. She goes, I'm not making the mistakes you made to get to where you got. And so, and she said, that's worth every penny to me. And I thought, man, I wish I had somebody point at me and say that. So,
yeah, if somebody had, I wouldn't have made those mistakes, right?
That's true. Very true. So,
and, hey, I don't tell everybody all the mistakes I've made in my business career, but then again, those people that are, just like you're saying, I'll give you the skinny whenever you're involved with me enough.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
So, folks, I thank you for being here with us on the podcast. Jerry's with us about every month now. Going to give you some of this advice. Hey, as you can tell, we just randomly talk about whatever hits our brain, and there's a lot hits our brain. Oh, wow. Jerry, any parting words or, hey, you're not going to a conference in June, are you?
No, I'm actually, I'm speaking at a conference in August. That's
okay.
And then I have some upcoming stuff but right now I'm focused on working one-on-one with clients. And so if we could help you in any way, if you're watching this and you're like, man, I can't afford it, just reach out. We'll work with you. But I am working hard to make sure that this industry wins. And if it means we got to spend a couple months together for free, we'll do it. And then we can build into a financial relationship later at some point. I really do desire to see you win as a business owner. There's something in you that caused you and is driving you to do it. And so I want to bring that to the front, and let's work on making your business great and professional. And let me help you move the ball down the field faster without the mistakes we've made. So looking forward to helping out whoever we can, Dave.